let's get back to one of my favorite topics, which is pointing out and helping you notice and understand the logical fallacies that most people use often in disagreements. And you better be careful and catch yourself using these as well. This next one is what we call the appeal to virtue, also known as the moral high ground logical fallacy. What is this one? This is the one where someone makes an argument that my argument must be right because I'm associating my position with something that is morally right or morally just, or it's just a good thing, it's just so upstanding that no one could possibly go against it just because it's the right thing to do and is the right way to think or the right way to believe. It's very easy to couch an illogical point inside of this framing, so you got to catch it. So this is also known as the moral shaming position, which is when someone says something like, hey, I believe that all kids should get free lunch at school every single day. And anybody who doesn't believe in that, then you're a terrible person because you don't believe that kids should be able to eat food. You think every kid should just go to school and starve every day because you don't want to give them food. See, that's a logical fallacy because there's a whole lot of other things that go into that argument of where the kids get the lunch from, who's paying for the lunch, why they should be getting it, what is the parent's responsibility. None of that is being discussed. All you're doing is trying to high ground the other person by saying you're morally wrong by not wanting kids to eat food, as if that's the entire conversation, when we all know that that's not the entire conversation. But you see people doing this exact thing all the time. I'm just giving you an example. That is, you are morally wrong if you disagree with me. That's the fallacy. So some examples of this, or some places that you will see this often. Politicians, they use this all the time. They use it on the political left. They use it on the political right. If you don't go with this, you're a bad person. You care more about helping these other countries across the world than you care about helping Americans pay their bills. That is a moral high ground fallacy. Even if it's true, it's still a moral high ground fallacy because you're not actually arguing the point. What you're trying to do is make the other person look morally wrong and undercut them instead of actually having the conversation. And again, as I told you, all politicians do this. They do it on the other side. You can flip that whole argument around and say the exact same thing. Well, you don't care about kids dying in these remote countries, but at the same time, you're trying to build highways or build a nice new ballroom inside the White House or wherever it may be. You see this in the workplace all the time. Any of you works in a bureaucratic workspace, you probably dealt with this situation where someone says, well, you agree with teamwork, right? You agree with everybody getting along, right? So why, if it's 6 of us on the committee and 5 of us think this way, you're the only one going against us, you're not with teamwork. You're not with helping the organization work the right way because you're the only one holding us up from doing this thing that might actually be a bad idea, but because they're trying to emotionally blackmail you by saying that you're morally wrong, you may be coerced into going with it, even though you know logically it's a bad idea. Has any of you ever had this happen to you? Also, you'll see this in debates where people try to set the table and you'll see politicians, again, they'll get asked a question like, hey, what about that thing you did when it comes to taxes? And they say, well, what we should be talking about is not taxes, but why my opponent hasn't paid their taxes in the last 10 years instead of this new tax plan that I signed off on 3 years ago. Want to learn more about how to cast these? Click the link in my profile. Work on your game.